Flock of dodos. The rabbit eats its own. It has to digest its food twice. In other words, it's not eating feces, but it's eating its fermentation chambers behind the intestines. So there, and that's all over the place in nature. And so I agree with that. 99% of all species have gone extinct. It's a waste of space. The universe is flying apart. Cold death.
There's no reason.
the Andromeda is going to slam into us.
There's no reason, if there's a God whose primary purpose was to create human beings, free creatures, to love him, as if he needed anything at all. There's no reason why he created the universe at all. I mean, he could have created a flat Earth on a flat disc somewhere. I mean, he's either...
as the Bible says he did.
Yeah, that's because that's what they expected prior to science. He could have done that had he needed us, and I say needed in quotes. Christians won't say God needed anything, but well then, if he didn't need anything, why did he create? But a flat Earth on a flat disc somewhere, science could never explain how we evolved. He could have eliminated amphibians entirely. I mean, he's either omnipotent or not. I mean, he could have left so many gaps in the fossil record. We could never have thought of any other explanation but that God.
They're there to trick us, right?
Oh yeah, they're there to trick us. We see. Then he's planting the seeds of doubt.
What?
To trick us would mean to cause doubt, and to cause doubt means we go to hell.
He's Descartes' evil genius. He's setting us up to think that species evolved, though they didn't, and that the universe is ancient, but it isn't. Why would he do this?
Yeah.
I love what Hume said, that there is an astounding amount of order in the world. You have to be blind not to see that. But there's not enough to justify these theistic claims. In fact, that's where you probably get Gnosticism from. The idea that, there is a God, we believe that, but this is a God beyond dirtying his hands if he had them in a mess like this. So where did it come from? It was created by a bungling foreman with a committee. Well, that would explain it, why there is some design and so on, but it doesn't work that great. And so that's what they believed. They had the old Bob Vila God, this old universe. Is this, if you prove this exists, would that prove the Christian or Jewish God? I don't think so.
I mean, it's really scary to see these museums being put up. I'm speechless when I hear about that and see it. And those guys, I mean, their budget is way bigger than the intelligent design guys. They're the ones getting the big bucks. There's $15 million versus $4 million at Discovery versus NCSE. The heroes like $700,000. The money is not lining up there. So
well, it's really a shame. It's really a shame that they're suspicious of any of science. Anyone who might question the Bible, they're suspicious. We can't trust them. All we can do is trust the Bible and maybe what our pastor told us, because Satan might be using them to deceive us. It's just they can't listen to an argument and say, well, maybe that's true. No. They've already got the red flags up. There's something wrong with this argument. I just don't know where it is. I'm suspicious of it.
And if I dared to think, I might, like you said, wind up in hell. It's just not worth the risk.
Right.
Like Kant said in his essay, What is Enlightenment? That people are raised to be children, and they're afraid to take the first steps towards intellectual self-reliance because, God forbid, they might fall. Of course, they might fall into hell, so they just rather not try it. And so this is where Dostoevsky's Grand Inquisitor comes in. You leave the thinking to us. Not that we're going to do any of it either, but it's a sad thing. Like, I really do not hate or dislike Christianity or any religion. I am a scholar of religions, and I research the religions, and I really love all of them. It's just that I can't countenance misinformation. I can't accept it when Muslim or Christian or anybody, their apologists start making bogus claims about science or history. That's the only time I have to put on the gloves. If somebody says, oh, reincarnation is reasonable to me, I believe it. Hey, look, that's your right. That's not an issue I would bug anybody about. But when you say, oh, there's no transitional forms evolution in happen, hey, look, you're a bunco artist. You're trying to retard the progress of the human race. You can't get away with that.
Yeah, I step up when they try and say it's science or to get into politics. I mean, so I'm glad you guys are here to help us. We need more of you. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sort of against the same thing he said. I think that people who turn to a book that they claim is inspired can be dangerous people because they're not thinking for themselves. So that can be dangerous. So I think we see it with the militant Muslims, and we have seen it with Christians in the past, and to lesser extent even today. So that does bother me, because then you don't have to think for yourselves.
Yeah, well, let's talk about morality a little bit, because that's what everybody starts thinking about with religion. What about the family values of Jesus? Is that what we're hearing in the media and these think tanks? Is that in the Bible?
Let the dead bury the dead. Go do your own funeral services. You come follow me.
Yeah, Jesus is depicted in the image of certain itinerant Christian prophets and preachers who had no family ethic because they believed the end of the age was at hand.
Oh, apocalyptic. Okay.
Sure.
So, and if you're a skeptic, are you against the family? I'm not against the family. Are you? Okay. You can be for homosexual marriage and still be for the family. It's like.
Yeah, that's a baffling thing to me. Homosexual marriage is going to threaten the institution of marriage. You mean by having more people get married? I mean, that is going to overthrow. I mean, I don't know how anybody can win the argument. Well, traditionally marriage meant this and that. Well, that's an endless semantic argument, and I don't really care. But this is a very strange argument that it's going to destroy marriage by having more people get married.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. Well, it's a symbol, I think. I can't explain it either, but it's getting better. Even within the churches, we're seeing more homosexual ministers and things.
Yeah. Bob had a brilliant essay a few months ago. I'd like him to maybe recall that for us about how sexual ethics will probably be, I don't know how you said it, the demise of evangelical Christianity. I want you to highlight that. That was excellent.
Yeah, to my great amazement, having come up through evangelical church youth groups and college ministries and all that, I'm just astounded to read statistics about how evangelical Christian youth are really becoming as promiscuous sexually as their unsaved buddies. To me, that's the end of it. Their movement is doomed because there will be no more basis on which to distinguish in their own minds between us, the saints, and all those sinners out there. And I think just anthropologically, once you breach that wall, your movement is dead. And so I think that for good or for ill, they're just going to be one more vestigial religious belief, like people that say, oh yeah, I'm this or that, but it's just like an ethnic background. It really doesn't influence their thinking.
So I'm trying to understand that a little bit. Are you talking about the abstinence-only policies?
Which doesn't seem to work.
Right, of course.
And so its own, the people that sign the cards and all that don't follow through with it. Maybe it's all...
virginity pledge. What did Julius Sweeney say? Nothing could be hotter than doing it with that ring on?
Julia Sweeney, God's gift to atheism. Yeah, she's great. But I think their movement, like you have to have certain boundaries that make your movement different from other ones, or there's really nothing to distinguish you anymore. And evangelical Christianity has gotten so worldly, for good or for ill, that very little separates them anymore. And also, this is no coincidence, that at the same time, surveys show that a surprisingly high percentage of self-described evangelical Christians don't believe you got to believe in Jesus to be saved.
What?
Now, once that begins to erode, as it has, and it has to in a pluralistic
Oh, you're
society.
saying in a what's the word? Postmodernism type of thing, where everybody gets to heaven? That type of thing?
If they move to that, or old
Okay.
universalism, which says, okay, you don't have to believe it, but Jesus died for you, so you're going to be saved. That's a consistent Christian position. But sociologically, once again, you're removing the boundary markers, and you will that belief and sexual practice, the divorce rate thing, that collapsed years ago. They used to be the born again super race. You see, we have these stable families, we have this pure moral behavior. Now they're just screwed up slobs like everybody else, and it becomes increasingly different to view yourself as some sort of an elite. And I think that's it. I think their movement is doomed a few generations down the line.
They're also more open towards homosexuals.
Yeah, once that happens, if that happens, forget it. Feminism.
Well, they'll take credit for it in the end, as Michael Shermer said, which is fine. I mean, as long as they're doing it.
Yeah, good, well put.
Yeah.
Well